This conference will now be recorded.
So, Afroj and Sandhya, since you guys are new to this today's topic, right? So we'll be learning about a quick introduction about roadmap in the software industry, and then followed by we'll be talking about full stack Java development, and then we'll slowly start with the course today. And now, if you see here, I'm going to cut short a couple of things. We are introduction to the software. What is a software engineering? Why we need to choose the software engineering as a profession? Right? Skill sets, career path. These are the things that are available. However, since we have already chosen the full stack Java development as a course, right? We don't need all the slides to be covered over here. So I'm just giving a quick introduction about myself. I have around 13 plus years of rich experience in the IT industry. My qualification is BSc from SK University at Anantapur. I worked at Wipro, Samsung, L&T, Accenture. Right. Currently, I'm working at Accenture. I have played different roles, starting from a software engineer, the basic designation for any software engineer, to the architect manager. Right. So currently, I'm leading a role of an architect manager where I provide the solutions to the RPA, artificial intelligence teams, with how the solutions can be made achievable. Right. So, for example, if let's consider that Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, Zomato, Swiggy, everything is available in the online, and they will be receiving the customer complaints, etc., and all, wherein the maintenance cost is high for them to run them. Right? So now using the bots, artificial intelligence, along with the RPA tech tools like UiPath or Automation Anywhere, whatever it could be, how it can be reduced. So I'm giving such kind of a solutions as well, starting from this. And doesn't mean that if I'm into an RPA platform, if I'm giving solutioning to these things, how about this full stack, right? Even to them, if you need to connect to an APIs, you need to know full stack development. Without having the full stack knowledge, you cannot achieve everything only with our artificial intelligence tools. So that means this full stack, right, whatever we are going to learn is the very foundation one, basic foundation. And with this foundation only you can rock or you can upgrade anywhere to anything. And it is very much required. Without the knowledge of this full stack development, you will not be able to learn, or you will not be able to achieve those things, right? So now, introduction to the software. What exactly is a software is considered? Software is basically considered as an instructions that we pass on to the computer, or to even to your mobile, or to your television, right? Nowadays we do have the instructions we are passing in for the convertible refrigerators, or to the washing machines, microwave ovens. We are passing on the instructions, and according to our instructions the programs are getting executed. Either it could be a baking of a pizza, or washing the clothes, or navigating to the channels into our TVs, right? Whatever it could be, or launching a WhatsApp on your tablet or your phone, whatever could be the thing, right? So basically, we are passing on the instructions, and that instruction sometimes, not sometimes, all the times, we might be also be dealing with an hardware. For example, if you consider phone as a software, in that you do have a motherboard, chip, batteries, etc., and all, which can be considered as a display, everything considered as an hardware for you, right? However, the instructions you are passing through tapping on the screen. In the similar way, you're passing on the instructions to a washing machine where there is an motor set, everything, right? So what could be the type of the cloth that you wanted to wash, everywhere you are passing on the so informations to, as you are interacting with the hardware in order to get your job done. The similar way, even the software is that one, that instructions. Now there are two types of softwares. One is application software, and the other one is system software. What is an application software? The browsers that we use, the Microsoft PowerPoints, Word, VLC media player, AnyDesk, or whatever could be the things, right? Now, the applications that we install in our systems, in our computers, in our laptops, right? Everything is considered as an application software. Whereas in the case of system software, the operating system, the boot level, which helps you to install these applications, right, is considered as a system software. Now we do have many operating systems such as Linux, Android, iOS, Samsung's Tizen one is there, LG has their own OS, Chromium, right, Windows. right? Linux, everything. There are many operating systems that are available for us in the market. In fact, even there are much more things also are there. Like for example, different flavors. Like in Linux, we do have Kali Linux, etc. and all. We have different. So they are all categorized under system softwares. Now, why do I need to choose a software engineering? Can you show me any profession in all over the world which gives you a decent hike and decent salary apart from the software industry anywhere in the world, especially in India? Only the software engineers alone can earn. So there was a question at the memes that were coming in or there that a software in Ola cab driver can also earn the similar amount to a software engineer, wherein he works only for according to his wish, and then he will close his day. How about in the case of pandemic situations? Was he able to consistently get the income like how we was expecting in, right? If you notice, I'm not questioning the source of incomes over here. However, my point is that the consistency. So the consistency is seen only in the case of this software engineering. Because of the softwares, the banking industry evolved. Because of the software, the hospitality, the restaurants, etc., evolved. Because of the software, the medical department in India has evolved like anything than before, wherein we were able to um, what I can say. We were able to investigate certain things. Like say, for example, we provided the solution to the corona itself from the India, right? Because of the researches that we have done. How did the money get generated? Because of the software engineers who were paying the tax or whatever could be the things you can consider, who are paying to the hospitals, etc. And all. Just assume the money has rotated, and just because of the software in India, the way we have seen the India prior to 1990s and after 1990s has been changed, right? So now, if you can consider, right, the software systems became an integral part of us. Even the Maurice Gorage, the latest car, talks to you when you try to open the door of it, right? It's going to have an interact with you. Hey, boss, whoever could be the name, and then let me interact with you. The banking, right? Earlier, we were traveling to a branch location, right? The branch, and then we were depositing the money by cash in hand to the clerk or the cashier, whoever it could be, and then we were getting a token out of it. After that, the money was getting transferred, and then later we use certain things called as an, and then we for, even for the withdrawal we were going to the branches only. Now later point of time there came a mob ATM cards, basically called as a debit cards, right? Now if you see today, if I have to transfer money to anyone, I can, if I have their mobile number, I can get just done it within the fraction of seconds, isn't it? So that means with the use of software this has been evolved. So that is why choosing a software profession gives you the consistency in the salaries, and you cannot remove software from your life, right? So that's why we are supposed to do this, and we need to learn technical skills. Not just technical skills, you need to know about problem solving, you also need to know about analytical thinking, you need to have a good communication skills, and you need to have a people management skills as well. So now when you guys learn from me, not just technical skills that I provide you, okay, in fact you can also you will also learn from me about the problem solving techniques, about the analytical thinkings, the people management, right, and the communication, etc. Everything you're going to learn from me in this particular course, right? So we do have different career paths in the software industry, and there's application software, web application software, system softwares everywhere, even in the cloud data, right? Cloud systems, etc. and all. Our Java full stack developer course, right? Basically, the skill set will be fitting in over here. Right? Even in the case of embedded as well, it will be there. The legacy is nothing but the softwares that which were developed pretty earlier, like so for example, 30 years before, 40 years before, 20 years before, and still they are running, right? Basically working in. So all these locations, the full stack Java developer or full stack developer basically will be fitting in. So you can be thinking of it. Now, since I'm saying in full stack, what exactly is the full stack Java developer? You don't need to worry about much over here. It's a combination of HTML along with CSS and followed by the Java programming to work with the backend applications and the frameworks like Django, Angular, React.js along with the databases. It's a deadly combination of all these things. So that means after completion of this course, you can search or apply for any of the jobs which are falling in. If they are asking for a Java developer, you can quickly apply for a Java development course, and then you can go ahead there, and then you can get a job of a Java developer. If they are asking for an API development, you can quickly apply for that, and then you can complete the course for the API development. I mean, you can get the job of an API developer. If they are asking for a front-end developer along with HTML and CSS skills, then you can quickly apply for that, and then you can crack the interview for that in that purpose. If they're asking an API with database experience, yes, even the combinations now you can see Java developer along with API development. Yes, you can go ahead and then apply even for that. So the deadly combination is a powerful combination and the powerful package that you are getting over here, with which you will be able to complete certain things, right? Of your for complete your requirements basically, right? So that's the beauty of this full stack development course that you will be learning in. Now, this full stack development is classified into certain types, 3 to 4 types or whatever could be the thing. The one is front end. Basically, the front end is nothing but the applications that you see in the web via with the help of a browser, or it could be based upon the applications that you install on your mobiles, right? So that front end basically is designed on the HTML, CSS, and with the help of JavaScript. And now the frameworks applied over here are Angular, React.js, Spring Boot, etc. and all. And with with just not HTML, you will be able to design your web page in a beautiful with a beautiful content, right? So now, in order to make it very much beautiful, we might be needing of these frameworks and the Bootstrap, etc. Okay, and in order to develop these kind of a programs, right, we might need an IDE, basically called as an integrated development environment. Like how I designed this particular content of this in a PowerPoint, the similar way, if I have to write some code, right, so then I will be using these IDEs, and couple of them are over here are Eclipse, IntelliJ, VS Code. Any of these things will be able to solve your purpose. Most probably I'll be using either IntelliJ or Eclipse over here in our course, and the other softwares, right, you can use on your own, and then you will be able to achieve it. Okay, now these HTMLs, right, with the use of HTML, static web applications can alone be developed. However, if we wanted to dynamically display the contents in our web page, now let's say for example Diwali offer, Dasra offer, the Amazon keeps changing the products, and let's say for example year-end sale, the products are getting changed. Now I cannot have the dynamic products being displayed if I just follow the HTML things. Then in order to basically make it a dynamic web pages, then in that particular course of time, I need to have an backend wherein I can keep updating my pages as a dynamic, my web pages as a dynamic. So over here, we will be in need of in programming languages such as Java, Python, PHP, Node.js, whatever it could be. And over here, we are concentrating with respect to the Java and Spring Boot, Django, etc. and all we are using in, right? And also at certain point of times, we might be in need of a microservices, basically called as an APIs, and over here we are concentrating on the rest. So to just give you an update on like what is an API, though we learn it very um, vast in the course, right? What is an API basically? Just consider Swiggy, Zomato, right? Your Uber, your Ola, Google Maps, everything, whatever you see and utilize in your day-to-day lives. Can any one of you guess did Zomato own any of the restaurants? No. But how they are getting it done, right? Basically, you have a requirement of ordering for a breakfast, and there's a restaurant who serves the purpose, right? And Zomato is working in the back end along with the restaurant and you in order to make a business for the restaurant and at the same time to serve your purpose and getting benefited with combining you two, right? Now, the similar way, if I have to tell you, you have a requirement of growing in at the heights of your career, right? So then you have chosen full stack Java development as in one of the course because of its deadly powerful combination. And now I approached one of the institute called as in VCUBE, wherein I said like these are the skill sets that I do have, and I can train your students basically on these particular contents, topics, etc. and all. Now, VCube as an API in the backend facilitated to both of us to serve the requirements, to meet the requirements, right? The similar way API is also working in the backend. Go IBO, make my trip, whatever you take, no? You can see that in the backend how you are getting connected with these things. Go IBO, make my trip doesn't own any of the flights that are that we do have, right? Basically, then how am I able to fly in with the help of Go IBO, where I have booked a ticket? How is it happening? Go IBO is trying to fetch the information of the available flights leaving from the particular city and reaching out to the destination. Then they are clubbing in and they are giving the offers for us, right? So if you use our application, I'm going to give you 1,000 rupees discount, 5,000 rupees discount, etc. Whatever could be their strategies availing in, right? The similar way, it is all happening just because of APIs. Now moving ahead, right? As I said, right, we need certain IDs, right? We will be using in. Along with these IDs, we will also need GitHub, basically called as one of the version control to maintain our code bases. Right from the day one, you will not write the entire code. So bits and pieces of it will be combined and then developed as a package by you and your team, right? So in order to maintain the version of that, like version one, it was looking like this. Version two, it got upgraded to a new slide. Version three, the content itself got changed. Like probably you can see how the Facebook login page got transformed from the day when it was there to the day to the current display it is in. Right, the transformation you can notice it, or in that matter you can consider any of the web applications where you felt that there is a difference. So these versions, etc. and all will be maintained through the GitHub repository. And along with this, if it would be nice if you learn something, if you have a knowledge on this Kubernetes, Dockers, etc. and all, not at all required if you do not have as well, okay, to crack the interviews. And we'll be building our projects into a Maven and the Jenkins. And coming to the databases, we do have NoSQL, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, etc. and all. Probably we can consider any one of them in our development course that we are availing in, right? So this is a quick introduction about what we discussed yesterday, and this is purely for you, the freshest or the new joiners who joined today. Okay, and now moving ahead, right? I'll be in talking today on the HTML components. Okay, so as we discussed, right, that front end is related. So the full stack development has been categorized, right? And one such is front end. On for the front end, we understand there is something called as an HTML, CSS, JavaScript are required, right? So now let's focus on this HTML thing. Now, what is this HTML basically? This tutorial, right? Basically, this course content I have designed in such a way that we can learn the concepts of an HTML, okay, and not just learning of the concepts of an HTML. For the beginners, it can also be used by professionals as well who are working in, right, if they wanted. As I have taken it step by step interactions, right? Each and every step I'll be covering in out or here in this particular course for you guys, right from the basic to the professional level. And after learning this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you will be able to create your own interactive and dynamic websites by your own without taking anyone's help. Okay. So now moving ahead, let's start with our course, that is HTML, right? So what is HTML? The definition states that hypertext markup language. What is this basically called as an hypertext? Any wild guesses? If you don't know as well, not at all a problem. I'm just giving a buffer time so as you can think and then you can let me know. I'm going to explain what is a hypertext, what is a markup, and what is a language as well. I'm just trying to hear from you guys. Mhm. No worries, let me move ahead. So this HTML is an acronym of an hypertext markup language which is used for creating of an web applications or the web pages, right? Let's see what is this hypertext. This hypertext means that text within the text. Okay, there's a text inside it. If you have another text, right, so that will be called as an hypertext. A text maybe, for example, you can consider as a link, right? A link will be having its own text inside it one, right? It is considered as an hypertext. Link text is there and there is a link as well, so that means it is considered as an hypertext. When you click on the link, it will bring you, it will navigate to a new web page that you have clicked on to the hypertext. Now this hypertext is the way which will link two or more web pages for you. Okay, so that is considered as an hypertext. Now what is markup language? Right, markup language is a computer language, okay, which is used to apply for the formatting, layouts, and the conventions for your documentation. And the document that we have created in the PowerPoint, right? Now, if I have to display it in a web browser according to the beautifications, etc., and all to the standards, etc., and all, right? I'll be applying in this animations, etc. Similar way, we'll also be applying the formats, basically conventions, or it could be the layouts that we may apply it. So this is how I will be considering in over here. Now, even if you wanted to apply certain images, video links, tables into your particular website, web applications, then this markup language will be helping you out. Now, it's not a programming language, just remember that. Okay. And what is a web page basically? So, web page is a document which is commonly written in HTML and translated by a web browser. Okay, a web page usually identified by an URL. URL is nothing but amazon.com, flipkart.com, zomato.com, whatever could be. No? So these are the URLs basically that we do. And a web page can be a static web page or the dynamic web page. If we wanted to have a dynamic web page, then that's where we learn the programming languages, which we just learned of it, right? So hence, HTML is just a markup language which is used for creating an attractive web applications with the help of styling, and then which looks nice in the format of a web browser, etc. and all. So far, any doubts with respect to the contents? Okay, so HTML technically, if you ask me, it's a text file. So that means in order to work with a text file, right? So we do have Notepad, Notepad++, Sublime editors, right? And here I'm going to use the same editors in order to learn the things for our course. Okay, so I'll be using all of them. Yesterday I've used Notepad, and today I'll be using in with Notepad or the Sublime. So incrementally we'll be getting familiarized with all the tools that I've just told you guys in order to work with this one. For example, HTML basics, right? For example, if we wanted to learn the HTML basics, right? Mm, Let me show certain examples. I think yesterday I have shown you guys launching of a web page which we designed in the this one, right? Notepad, right? I'll today consider as a Notepad++, and then I'll be talking. First, let me save this as an save as VCUBE HTML tutorial. Okay, and I am placing it in full stack location. Okay, and over here instead of a normal file, I'm selecting in all types. Okay, and I'm giving the type as an HTML as an extension to my file name over here, and I have saved it. And now over here I'm saying in like document type is HTML, What is the document? It's an HTML document, and I'm using in certain notes. You don't need to worry. We'll be learning all these things now itself in the course. I'm just designing it out. Within this HTML, I do have something called as an head, and inside this head, I do have the title of the web page, VCUBE HTML tutorial is what I'm having in, and then I'm closing the title tag that we just opened. Similar way, I'm closing the head tag as well, which is being opened over here. And in the body, whatever we wanted to see in the web page that we are designing, right? So that will be placed under this body section. And or in this body section, I'm writing in header one, the first header, right? So heading, header, whatever you wanted, and then I'm closing this particular tag. You don't need to worry about the tags that I'm writing in. I'll explain what is a tag, etc. and all, and the paragraph as well. And then I'm saying in my first paragraph, whatever could be in that price. So now I have saved this particular one, and now over here in the full stack folder, VCube HTML. This is the one we just created, right? Now, if you can see, the title of the web page says that VCube HTML tutorial, and the header, whatever we have written, and it also displayed that my first paragraph in the browser in this way. So whereas if I open the same thing in a notepad plus plus, right, you see that HTML, head, title, body, etc. and all the tags are there. Whereas in the case of browser, they are not. So that means the browser is capable enough of displaying your web pages in the beautification format. Now, if you wanted to see the source of this particular web page, right click over here and then you will get a view page source. Okay, or you can do a control U as a shortcut for this one over here. Now you can see that this is the particular source page of this web page that we have designed so far. So it is very much easy, like how I have written it. Now it's time for us to learn whatever I have written it. So this document type HTML is the declaration that defines that this document is an HTML5 document. Okay, so either it could you sometimes you might have XML documents as well, which is another format like an HTML. So over here, that's where we are defining it clearly that this is an HTML document, which can be viewed in the application web browsers. Now the HTML, whatever we have written, this is basically the root element of an HTML page. The root means you can consider it as a parent as well. Okay, so this is the starting point of any of an HTML web page. You are getting right. Okay, so the head, right, basically, this contains the meta information of an HTML page. What is this meta information and all we'll be learning in detail going forward. But for now, you can remember. And inside this head, right, you have the title which specifies the title of a web page. Now, for this particular document that I have created, right, so the title says that HTML tutorials PPTX, isn't it? Now, the similar way, if I have to see the title for my web page that I have designed, right? So that is coming under this title section, which is under the head section. Now, whatever if I wanted to see in my web page in the browser, right? So there I can, that will be written inside this body tag. If you notice, the header and then my header, my first paragraph, etc. displayed for us, right, in the web application that is under the body tag. Now this H1 tag, right, whatever I have written is an header to display text in a large font. Okay, and now if you can see, it has displayed in a large size, and it was also bolded to ensure that there is a differentiation between the header and with the paragraph as well, right? For example, how did it happen is like, if you can see, HTML basics is the header over here, and now over here with the content that whatever I'm writing is a paragraph for me. Now the similar one, the same one is being represented in a different way when it came to an HTML, right? So now this is what we are tracking in, right? So HTML tag, what is this tag? Basically tag is nothing but the content in the HTML. For example, this is my first paragraph, right? Or this is my header, whatever we have written is being surrounded with the tags to make it meaningful, right? So what we did we do, so we have used an header one h1 to make it big larger the text that is getting displayed in our web page, so as there will be a differentiation, isn't it? And by looking at it, okay, h1 means header is trying to differentiate, and p is nothing but the paragraph. It means he is talking about something to be written in the particular paragraph. That's what, right? So that means attributes is nothing but the provides additional information about an element, and that is being applied at the start of the tag, okay, which will have the both fields and values. We haven't written any attribute for now. You can see that there is an uh, information about these attributes, the syntax for that one. The tag name is nothing but your header tag or whatever tag that you wanted, and tag and followed by the name of it, right? And the attribute and name of the attribute and the value of that particular attribute, and then you can have this particular closing of this particular tag names. For example, I gonna write something over here that tag name is A, and then attribute name is href, hypertext reference, right? And then here I'll say like https www.google.com, okay? And then I'll close this out. I'll say like Google, and I'll close this one. Now, can you see this paragraph tag, whatever we have given, right? However, when we compare this with this one, this is more meaningful for us, that we are telling that this is an anchor tag and which has an hypertext reference which will navigate us to a Google page, and the text that should be displayed for this https google.com etc should be this Google, and we can enclose we are closing out this anchor tag whichever has been opened. Now the moment I refresh my particular web page, right, can you see that Google link hyperlink came in over here, and when I click on it, it navigated me to the web page, that is Google, right? So this is how we can design our attributes. Okay, this is, we just tried about how the attributes it looks like. Sometimes you can also give the source images etc and all. I think yesterday we have given it, Nasima, if you remember, right? Not this one. You can consider this image source, which I have taken it from one of the in Amazon's website. You can see that I have taken it from an Amazon, that it is navigating to amazon.com etc and all. Now into our particular website, right? If we refresh this one, see this particular image is getting embedded. In that matter, this img is also one of the tag, and the source, there is a meaningful, from where are you getting the image, boss? I also need to know, right? So you're asking for a meaningful information, so I'm telling that this is the source and this is the location from where I have got in this particular image. Now if you need this image to be viewed as also as a clickable content, again we can append it along with an anchor tags etc and all. Later we'll be learning it in detail. uh, I think someone has unmuted. Can you guys be on mute if you're not speaking in? Or if you have any suggestions, questions, do let me know. So Nasima, it was you. I just muted you to avoid the disturbances in the class. Okay. Now, moving ahead, right? So there are two ways to specify this URL in the source attribute. One is absolute URL, which we just have displayed. Okay. Links to an external image that is hosted in the another website. So this is the link that we have used, and these external images might be under copyright. So I cannot use this one directly and publish in my own websites, etc. and all, because this has a copyright content as I'm using it from the Amazon, which will be violation of copyright laws. And so we have to be careful enough when we are giving the source of an images from the third party websites. Okay. And they can remove their particular image, or they can what I can say, change that particular image that is there in this particular website, right? In this particular location, etc. and all. Now there is something called as a relative URL, links to an image that will be hosted within the website. Here, the URL does not include any domain name like how I have designed something like Amazon.com, etc. and all. And this URL begins with a slash, and that will be something called as a relative XPath, etc. If the URL is within the slash, then that will be considered as a relative one. Now what I can do is that, let me quickly go to this particular website. What happened? Or in that matter, I can do one thing. I can take the screenshot and then I will save this out. Then I'm saving this as an untitled PNG. Okay, I need to save it in a different location. Let me save it in the desktop only, in that full stack folder itself. And yeah, let us save it over here. And now we can write in our particular web page that img source, I can say like untitled titlb.png. Okay, and then I can say like width is equals to some 500, and I can say like height is equals to 600, whatever could be the height that we would like to, right? And then probably let's try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll make it workable in our course when we learn that out. Can you see that the web page, the image got displayed over here with us? Now you can change the height and weight, height and width dimensions. You can make it to 200, and then you can make it to 100 as well. Now, if I refresh this, can you see the image that got embedded into the same particular same website, right? So now this is how we can use the attributes in our web pages, so as the particular thing can be made meaningful, whoever can refer to this one. And now there is an alt attribute as well. Okay, this alt attribute is used basically with so as we can specify the alternate text for an image that could be getting displayed. Now how could I get this done, right? So now over here we don't need width and height as we are using in the alt one. So I'll just say alt. See how simple it is, whatever we are doing it. So I'll say like screenshot. And since we are writing it, his S should be in the capital case as per the English standard. and I have saved this one. Now, the moment I click on, right, image source is this one, and let's use this height and width as well again, and then this width as in because it is getting it more, we are unable to differentiate, right? So that's why, and then IGHT height equals to some 100, so as it can be easily clearly visible for us, right? Now this is how you can get displayed of this one. All right. So now moving ahead with the other things, you can also have certain styles and all being displayed. For example, I think we have seen that one also yesterday. Now over here, I'll write something like style. These are CSS styles to our web pages. So I'll say write something like color colon red terminated with a semicolon, and then I'll close this out, and this is what I'll write. And now when we refresh our particular web page, can you see that my first paragraph got displayed in a red color, right? So this is how we will be designing our own HTML pages with the help of the attributes. In certain point of times, we might have to design our web pages other than English. Then we have to tell it which language are we using it. So I'll say like language is equals to English. Now this clearly talks about that this particular web page is an English web page. This should be displayed in an English. Now there's no difference that you could make it with just because of using the language attribute. However, this gives certain meaningful. For example, even over here you can append ENUS, English US or English UK, whatever could be the matter in that case. But over here you will not be able to see any differences, but the contents will be displayed as per the country's references, code references, right? And we do have the similar one, the title attribute, which is displayed as a title of the particular web page. Now the same title attribute is being used in any of the web pages, like for the Google, Facebook, everywhere, right? The same one. Let's go ahead and see the real web pages, the realistic. Now can you see that there is something called as an go to? Now what I'm going to do is I'll quickly inspect this particular element web page, and let me make it down, extract it so as you can see quickly. So quickly we have navigated, and as we designed in our web pages, we understood that the title will be there in the head tag, right? So this is the head tag. As I said, there is something called as a meta information. We'll talk about this meta information later point. And now over here, we have to see where is the title of our web page. There are so many styles, text, CSS things are being used over here. There's a link reference, etc. and all. There are many things that are there. I think we missed somewhere the title in the above. Hmm. Can you see? Actually, just beneath this meta information, there is something called as a title, and this is the go-to. If I'll change this go-to to, for example, Google for now, can you see the title is getting changed? However, since it is not the one, right? Cancel. Let me cancel it. Okay, as I will leave it. Okay. So this is how the title can also be viewed and then returned to our web pages. And these are the different types of attributes that we will be using in. Um, and then probably if you wanted to add some text to the your web pages, right? So for whatever we have written, so for example, if you wanted to write some text being displayed for this particular one, right? uh, the good practice says that I have to um, yeah, we have already written this one to be displayed, and the similar way we can also get it displayed for the this one. Okay, and this is all about the HTML attributes. See how easy it is that we are writing in. Right, the similar way we have header informations as well, right? So we just talked about h1 header. Now I'll say header 2, heading 2, and then I'll close this tag, h2 tag. And the moment we refresh our web page that we have designed so far, can you see there is a difference in the size, the font size of this particular heading 1 and then heading 2, right? The similar way, this h1 tags will be there starting from 1 to 6. Each will be having their own font sizes being defined. Okay, and this particular h1 tag will be given the highest priority, whereas h6 will be given the lowest priority according to their rankings, according to the rankings defined by the standards. Now these headings are very much important. For example, what is a heading? If you look at my document that I'm presenting to you guys today as part of this topics, right? HTML basics with this background, right? This will be considered as an headers for us. Even if you consider any of your documents, etc. and all, right? There will be certain headers being defined, which are very much required to design any web pages, right? Not only for the web pages, everything will be considered as an. These are the header tags that we will be using in our web pages according to our requirements, right? So we have just seen the example of this one also. Okay. Now, what is an element basically? The individual component of an HTML file that is written within the HTML tags, right, is considered as an element. Now, in that matter, what is an element? The speed, style, color, red is one such element. This ahref google.com is one element, and we do have this image source. Even this is considered as a third element. The similar way with these two also be considered. In that matter, whatever we have it inside the body where the attacks are being used, right? So everything is considered as an element for us. That is what I just talked about it. And then um, we have just seen the same examples, whatever I just highlighted. And then there could be certain locations where you will be having in the nested elements. Okay, so let's see what is this nested element, etc. and all. So now over here, what I'm gonna do is into this particular paragraph now, this okay, h1, h2, this one are the examples. These are the nested elements only, HTML elements only. Now, nested elements is nothing but inside the HTML page and inside the body tag, if you have the H1 paragraphs, and inside this paragraphs, if you have multiple paragraphs, then that will be considered as a nested elements. Now we do have anchor tag, etc. and all, right? Or here, style equals to color green. Second paragraph, and then so these are all considered as an um, I think code green is not the right one. That's where we are not able to see it, and it came as a single one. We have to use the different code color codes that we are supposed to. Then we can make it out, right? And these are the nested elements that we can be using it in our web pages. And say, for example, um, right? As we discussed so far, right? Everything is that we have written, whatever the web page that we written is inside this particular HTML, right? Everything, either it could be the title or it could be the image that is being displayed in our web page. Everything is being displayed, sorry, is fit in enclosed within this particular HTML tags only. So that means if you're designing any HTML web page, it should be within these HTML nodes. Okay, and the contents that you basically see in your web pages, right? For example, this is my first paragraph, second paragraph, heading, header 1, header 2, or it could be Google image link, basically Google link, or it could be the image, whatever that we are seeing, the contents of a web page, they are placed under the body section, right? So that is what this point is talking about. And headings, we just discussed about the headings as well, isn't it? And the paragraphs as well. Now, if you can notice, there are two paragraphs, my first paragraph, my second paragraph, etc. and all we have written it. And you don't need to, you should never skip this head end tag. This end tag should always be there. You have to remember, okay? And for example, if you wanted to write in a new line something which is with respect to this first paragraph, okay? For example, I'll write, then we are supposed to use the br tag, so which will provide you the break. So now I'll say here that this is the first time that I am designing a web page. Okay, so now if I display, can you see that this is the first time I'm designing the web page? This came in within the first paragraph only, and this was not interrelated to the second paragraph, right? And now let's say, for example, Naveen, I just wanted to break it down, this image. I just want to bring this image into a new line, as it's a confusing for me. How could I get it done? Yes, even then you can use this br tag. And now when you refresh it, can you see beneath this BR Google hyperlink, you are having this particular one. So this is how you can play around with the BR tag to break it in new lines. Okay, and the similar way we all do also have another attribute with which we can get displayed, and that is nothing but an HR tag. Okay, I'll just show you the differentiation of this HR tag as well for the web page that we write it, that we are exercising whatever we are. Why do we need this particular HR tag, etc. and all, no? You will not be able to understand how an HTML content will be displayed in our web pages based upon the screen resolutions. The laptop will have a bigger resolution than the mobiles, and TVs will have a bigger resolutions, and how our fonts or the images are getting displayed or there in our screens that we are basically using in, right? We really do not know. So now with the help of HTML alone, you cannot change the display by adding the extra spaces, etc. and all. For example, I wanted this to be in a new line, and then for example, if I give this particular space and then try checking it out whether it works. Now, can you see? It did not bother the extra space that we have added, because the browser has the capability of removing the extra or unwanted spaces that we basically add to our web pages. Now, in that case, how this works out, right? So, how can we get these things done? So that is where we use the horizontal rules HR tag as a reference, so as it will be getting displayed for us. Now, what I'll do is that also to differentiate, right? I'll say like this as an one HR, okay? And this as one HR. See, the differentiations can be made something like this. Is though we have added a BR tag, this was not good enough, right? So now instead of this BR, I'll add this HR, and then I'll see. Can you see here between the second paragraph and the first heading? Sorry, second heading. There's a line getting added, and this Google, right? After this Google and before the image, there's a new line getting added as well. Okay, so this is how we'll be using in the HTML tags and the attributes in order to work with the applications, right? So I'll be closing out today over here, and tomorrow we'll be learning about different styles of HTML formattings, quotations, comments if we have to do it, and different color codes. If you just notice, na, we were unable to highlight the color green, right? What am I supposed to use that one? All these things we'll be learning it out in our next classes before moving on to CSS or the hyperlinks, etc. Right?